ladies, today's episode is about family dynamics and whether or not genes play a role in whether or not we're destined to be heavy. So have you had any thoughts on that?
Well, I'll start.
Yeah,
sorry.
Right.
Well, everyone in my family is heavy. My grandmother was heavy, my mother's heavy, my brothers, and I'm heavy. And also dealing with my son, my youngest son, Jordan, is heavy. And it's kind of one of those things why I came on this journey. Because I see the health problems that my grandmother went through, that my mom goes through, and I need to break the chain. I need to change that. And I see that Jordan, and because of my eating habits, because he eats what I feed him, I'm his, provider. So I wanted to do something to help change that. And so I kind of, grew up thinking, I didn't grow up thinking that there was something wrong with me because everybody in my family looked that way, except, so, food feasts at the, that's just how we were. And it wasn't, I didn't see anything wrong with it, except when you're in school. And that's why I'm worried now about Jordan. When you're in school, you realize oh, okay, well, I am the biggest girl in the class, And, those kind of things. And I don't want Jordan to go through the things. He's in middle school now, so I worry about that. And
Sure.
I worry about, so I want to do things to change that, to change his path.
Well, there's nothing wrong with you, first and foremost. And, a lot of people in America are dealing with the same thing. There's an obesity epidemic, unfortunately. So you're doing the right thing by taking control of it now and changing your own lifestyle because you're the role model for Jordan. And so,
and again, talking about understanding how to differentiate between what you're genetically destined to be versus what you can change. And so we all have genetic predispositions, whether you have a tendency to build muscle, and we'll get maybe a little bit more into that, but we know through all the work that they're doing with genes, epigenetics, and study how genes turn on and off. We know that through nutrition, through lifestyle, through stress modification, lifestyle changes, we can change that. We can turn genes on, we can turn them off. And so just saying, okay, well, I'm destined to be a certain way isn't really the truth. And so it's a matter of being able to differentiate, okay, right, everyone in my family may have a propensity to be heavier, but that doesn't mean that I can't change my destiny and my child. So some of it is understanding what you're eating, right? Most of it is then being able to impart that. So taking the things that you're learning and transferring that to, and making it that habit. It's not like saying, okay, Jordan, we're going on a diet. No, we're changing our entire lifestyle. And watching him, or having him watch you, is going to really be the impetus for changing everything there forward. It's like once you start rolling down the hill, right? The momentum kicks in. So.
Right.
So is Jordan on board with this? Is he accepting the lifestyle change and doing it with you, or is he resisting a little bit?
Sort of. He's making small changes. He'll say things, I have a scale, and the scale's in the bathroom downstairs. So he's weighing himself once a week also. And he's changing some things. He is a junk food junkie, like his mom was. So he is more mindful. He's like, no, Mom, I'm gonna make sure if I grab a glass of water, or if I grab a bottle of water when we head out the door, he grabs a bottle of water.
That's great.
So small changes he's definitely making. I still have to, taper out the junk food. I haven't, I give him snack money. So it's like, what'd you do with your snack money? He's like, oh, I just got a Gatorade today. So he is mindful, or he'll tell me, he says, well, no, he says, Mom, they had chicken nuggets at school today, but I just had a salad. So he's making small changes, and he does walk, and he's at the Boys and Girls Club, so they're active all day. So when I pick him up, he's like beat. He's like, oh yeah, I played 10 games of basketball today. So he gets excited about those things. As far as working out with me, not so much. I go too early for that. He's like, no, Mom, I'll sleep. But he's drinking more water. He is limiting the snacks, and I don't bring the snacks in the house, so I think when I do give him snack money, it's kind of like, oh yeah, it's
he's
like,
gonna get the bad
yeah, he's gonna get the bad stuff. So So small changes.
So it really is about the process, and it's making small changes, and that's going to be really, really important, because what you don't want to focus on at a young age with him is the weight, the weight, the weight. It really should not be about the weight. It should be about the health, right? Have you made a healthier choice, and are we moving in a healthier direction? Because if he starts to feel better, he'll start to look better, and one feeds on the other. And so probably at this young age, it's more important to focus on that than how he looks, because it's not just about what's on the outside. You know, we all know that. So
you want to make sure that he's, you know, just making more mindful and healthful choices on the days when he's not maybe as active. And that brings up another point, the activities that he's doing. You know, a lot of kids, they excel at some things more than others, and a lot of that is because of body type. You know, I'm a mesomorph. I typically put on muscle easier, and I knew a long time ago I was not going to be a ballerina, and I was not going to be a basketball player at 5'2". I have no ups whatsoever, but when I lift, you know, even a little bit of weight and I eat right, I can change my body, and it's a really empowering, great feeling, and I feel stronger and healthier. And when I think of Jordan, he has that type of body type. And you mentioned his dad. What does his dad look like?
His dad's like 6'2". Yeah, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
So see, that's where the genetics come into play, right? So he has that tendency. So we're gonna, you know, let him use that to his advantage rather than disadvantage.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a great idea. You know, some people are hesitant to get kids on weightlifting, but they can start out with body weight type of resistance. It's really good for their bones as they're growing. Also, when you take kids into a gym, a lot of times the skinnier kids, they can't hang because they're not as strong. And so Jordan might excel in that area, and it's a great way to use those calories that he might be indulging a little bit too much.
Yeah, right.
So unlock those strengths, kind of play a little bit more to what he's good at, and his body type, he might lose some baby fat. It made it be all about baby
fat. He'll probably
fat.
grow into himself, you know, quicker than you think. And that's why pushing the healthy foods and talking about health versus weight, that's where it'll really, really be important, because you do want to keep it on the healthy side as opposed to skinny, fat, heavy, thin, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and that makes me think, like, Brandy, I know you've got Romanian background.
Yes, my dad's side.
Yeah, and they tend to be bigger, a little bit
Right,
bigger
they have
people.
the more, like the women, I don't want to say more masculine looking, but very like chiseled, more features. Like they can build muscle quicker. The bigger legs, like the calves, the quads, and then of course like the curves, you know, more like the hourglass. But the thing is, like growing up, like even in high school, I wanted to participate like in the weightlifting, but you always hear that rumor, oh, you're gonna bulk up, you know, you'll be like a bodybuilder, you know what I mean? Like you have that stereotype, so I never really pursued it just because of that, you know, being worried about that.
Well, I gotta tell you, my first time in college, it was the same story for me. Like, I actually went and started working out at our local rec center, and I had a nose guard boyfriend at the time, so he was huge, and I was doing what they were doing, and I didn't realize anything about food. I didn't know how to eat right, and so I was lifting, and I was getting bigger, and a lot bigger, and I came home from school, and my mom saw me, and it was like around my birthday, and she took one look at me and went, I don't think any of these clothes I bought you for your birthday are gonna fit. She's like, what have you been doing? I was thicker. And so at that moment, my mom's reaction really discouraged me, and although I was feeling good, I quit, and I wouldn't do it again. So it wasn't until after college that I really, and after actually my health was in jeopardy, that I started really lifting again and realized I needed to do something and actually be proactive about my health. But the key thing was the food.
Right, and I was going to say that too. At one point in college, I was much bigger, muscular-wise, you know, and even though I was always into nutrition, just tweaking the little things and understanding, you know, when the carbohydrates, the fats, you know, you need the good fats, and so really, yes, it is as much as it is about the exercise. Women don't have that propensity like men. We don't have enough testosterone to get, we can get bulky and maybe look thick because of our diet, and we look that way, right? But if we change our diet, we really don't have that propensity to get as big as guys do.
I eat a lot. I eat a whole
Right.
lot.
Well, the more muscle
Yeah.
we have, you know, muscle is the engine of your metabolism, right?
Yeah.
It's the only thing that's metabolically active. So you really do want to, and I encourage my clients as well, and you guys, you know, we
Build
talk
muscle.
about you want to do resistance training. We need to
do.
put that muscle on because that's the
Right.
only thing that's going to burn calories.
That's the
right?
only thing that lets you have those indulgences and not backslide.
Right.
Or you're always having to chase it with cardio and do more and more cardio. I hate cardio. I get winded going to the mailbox. It's like, I'm done. I don't want to do it. No, I'll do it, but I like to do it for health. I don't want to do it because I'm trying to always get lean, lean, lean.
And that's the misconception
Yeah.
too. Everybody thinks, oh, we have to do cardio, and it's really not.
Right.
about
They
that.
always tell you, just
It's-
run. Just
Right,
run.
and that
Right.
couldn't be farther
No
from the
running,
truth. So,
yeah.
Well,
you know,
that
so-
brings up the other thing. I have a tendency in my family to have cellulite. And we're not big people, and so I can get it all the way clear back down the back of my leg, and if my diet isn't as clean as it can possibly be, you can really tell. And I'm always fighting it. Even when I get really lean, I still have a little left back there, and I'm always trying to figure out how can I get that little bit to go away. It might just genetically be that that's what I'm predisposed to. I can be extremely, extremely strict and be good and do the things I need to do, you know, show off my bikini or whatever I'm doing. But it'll creep back up. And you know, weight's the same way. You know, all of us have, you know, some of our little issues that we're always going to fight because genetically that's just what we're predisposed to.
Right.
But again, my lifestyle choices are going to make it better or worse.
You know, and that's when we talk about, there's also that set point theory. You know, we talk about genetically what, we look at the ideal, right? We always look at these, oh, what should my BMI be? What should my ideal weight be, right? And, you know, I don't know anybody who's really 5'4" and 120 pounds. I mean, that's just the most unrealistic thing you could ever think of. But
Barbie?
understanding, right, Barbie maybe. But, you know, it's understanding, okay, where's my weight comfortable? So, you know, I know you guys set goal weights and all that, but really it's a weight where your body, where you feel good at what you can maintain healthfully,
Yeah.
right? We know sometimes those bodybuilding ideals are not realistic. The bodybuilders
healthy.
get, and they're not healthy
Yeah,
too.
some
but,
of them are not
you know,
healthy.
they get down, you know, you have to starve yourself to get down to a certain weight to look a certain way. You can't maintain that for any length of time. So there's also that understanding of
Balance.
genetically, balance. Where am I balanced? But genetically, where does my body like to be, and where do I feel the best? Because, you know, at a very low weight, you might not feel real good. So you have to manage the health. You know, we talked about that skinny fat. Nikki, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
You know, so tell us a little bit about what you.
Well, growing up, you know, I was always just a little heavier than I should have been, and I started gaining weight around 12 years old. And just speaking on like making sure you focus on health and not the weight, absolutely, because my family focused on the weight for me, and it was always kind of like, oh, you're getting big, or you need, like when I was thinner, like growing up, oh, you need to eat something, and it was just always like focused on my appearance, because I started, you know, I modeled when I was like 4, and so that was always kind of like, I was kind of always focusing on that and how I look. And I never thought of myself as being, you know, unhealthy. Like I always said, I called myself like the healthy fat girl, because I was just, you know, you go to the doctor and like, well, you're fine. You don't have high blood pressure, high cholesterol. You're just overweight. And I had that for a long time until like I got increasingly overweight, where it was just like, okay, now it is affecting your health, and you need to be more mindful of it, because obviously as you get older, those things start to play into it. But you know, I think I'm similar as far as like I gain weight easily, but I also gain muscle super easily. And I was always afraid of working out, and of like not working out, but of lifting weights, because I'm like, I'm gonna bulk up, I'm gonna look like a freaking Hulk.
Right.
So I used to dance when I was younger, and I, you know, started ballet, and I remember putting on a leotard and looking in the mirror and just being like this, like I was like a triangle shape. I was like, oh no. So from then on, I was like, I look like a boy. I couldn't wait till I got boobs. I was like, thank God. Because I was like, no, I'm shaped like my father, which is not a bad thing necessarily, because we do gain muscle very easily. You know, the Jamaican Usain Bolt kind of thing going on. But I've always kind of felt that way, that it's just easy for me to put it on, easy for me to put on weight, easy for me to put on the muscle. So I've always kind of been weary of the weightlifting.
Right.
Yeah. Well, don't be leery of that, because I can tell you from the moment you're born, the rest of your life, gravity is pulling you down. So unless you do something to resist that and lift it all back up, we just get sadder and sadder. And so you're doing it right by doing it as early as you can now, because you naturally lose muscle as you age. You know, after 40, I think it's like 10 pounds of muscle.
Well, yeah, well, they say it's 2% of your, you know, body weight.
Body weight, okay.
Whatever,
well, it's too much. 2%
right.
too much.
Right.
Because
and
the more you lose, you can't gain it back unless you have to maintain that, and then you want to add on top of that. I mean, it's like the fountain of youth. It really is. It's the only thing that speeds your metabolism, keeps it to where you can still eat the same way, or you have to adjust your food as you age, and it's a snowball effect that you can prevent if you just lift some.
Right,
do
and,
some
even going back to some of the blood work that we did and the saliva work, and knowing where the hormones are at too. Right, you know, we have some disconnects there, and getting those back into
higher
alignment.
Testosterone.
Yeah, right. Right. Well, that's the thing, right? But the testosterone will play a role in holding on to the fat. And to the, I mean, it's good that you have it for the muscle building, right? But we want to also have that balance where you can become a little more lean, and you'll do that as the testosterone starts to normalize.
And you know what, and just to make a point, just because somebody is thin doesn't mean they're healthy either. So it's not even about that, it's just making sure that we get everything working the way it should. And then if the only one hiccup you have because you're healthy otherwise is that you're overweight, through a lifestyle you can change that, you can fix it. And so that's great news, and it's not something more serious, you know. So we both had to deal with health scares, and I've never been extremely overweight, but I was the skinny fat girl. You know, I didn't have any muscle until I learned that muscle is really what changed my body, gave me the look that I want, but it also made me healthier overall, stronger bones, you know, my hormones got better. So, but it's just all about finding the balance that works specifically for you, and working with professionals that can help you determine what that best should be.